It is May 28th. I'm here with Sheriff William Honsal for his media availability.
Thank you, Sam.
Just jump right in and get started.
Can we just talk about a couple things that are going on this week?
Yeah.
Number one is that the governor made an announcement that churches are available to be opened this week, and so right now churches have the ability to apply for this certification online. They're not mandated to, but they're encouraged to, and we can guide them through their operational process of opening back up safely. They're supposed to have 25% of capacity or 100, whatever is less. And so there are some churches that are going to plan on opening up for services this weekend, and there are other churches that are continues to be shut down and doing online activities or various type of activities. So, there are things that are slowly opening up. I know the casinos are opening up as well, and then also we have dine-in services that are opening up this Friday. And so there are over 100 restaurants throughout the county that have applied for the certification to reopen. We have gotten through most of all of those dine-in restaurants, and there's still applications coming in today. And so our goal is to get all those applications processed so these dine-in restaurants can open tomorrow. And so if you're curious as far as their restrictions or what kind of things they're going to do to kind of mitigate and kind of control measures, you can go online and you can look at those restrictions. You can look at those things that so you can help educate yourself on what the restaurants are doing to make sure that you're safe, their employees are safe, and that you're going to have a dining experience that will not affect your health. So, and all these things are going to be backed up by our local environmental health. And there will be inspections. So we want to build confidence in our community that the dine-in restaurants, if you choose to go that way, is a facility that is going to be safe to eat. So let people know that.
Awesome, thank you. Starting with our media questions, with more and more businesses submitting certification plans and reopening, and more sectors given the green light to open in the next few weeks, can you talk about what enforcement will look like? Will there be more of a law enforcement presence out and about to make sure businesses are following plans, aren't opening prematurely, etc.?
So we are. Our biggest compliance capability is our employees and our customers that are actually visiting these places. And if they don't see that compliance certification out in front of the business, then they're calling us. So that causes us to have a conversation with them. It might be a phone call from our Joint Information Center. It could be our business compliance personnel. It could be environmental health. It could be code enforcement. It could be law enforcement. A lot of different mechanisms of government to try and gain compliance. Our ultimate goal is to gain compliance here, whatever that is, whatever means necessary, right? And so we haven't had to issue citations yet because businesses have been compliant, and so we're continuously seeing that down the road, and I think through education and through the eye of public lens and public confidence, I think people are adhering to the compliance certification process.
Great. The county has said some reopening is allowed with plans that need to first be submitted and approved. The health officer has said that the county can always pull back on reopening if circumstances change/worsen. What would pulling back mean for Humboldt businesses? I.e., would restrictions be put in place for all businesses or just a hold on approvals for the new ones to reopen? For example, would the businesses that are already reopened be asked to scale back, or will there just be a hold on new ones being approved? Hope that makes sense.
Oh, it does. So we've gotten this question quite a bit. What happens if? And that is, that's one thing is we're preparing for the worst, hoping for the best. That's what we're doing here. That's why the shelter-in-place order was started in the first place, so we can prepare for potential hospitalizations and our response. So that's what we're doing. That's what we have done. Now we're slowly opening things up so we can kind of gauge how COVID is going to be affecting our community. So we still see some kind of steady numbers. We have a 0-day, we have a 4-day, we have a 5-day, a 2-day. So it's just, we're kind of all over the board as far as our levels of activity in COVID. But the fact is that we don't want to shut down businesses, and the goal is not to shut any businesses down that are currently open. So if things were to escalate, all things are on the table at any given time, depending on how many hospitalizations we have and those kind of things. But the goal is we would restrict the compliance process. So we would prevent further businesses from opening in the future if we saw their numbers going sky high. And so that's our gauge to kind of pull things back. But also if our numbers are going high, then there's other sectors that we won't be able to open up. So I know people are excited to have barbershops open up, and then soon gyms, soon nail salons, and some of these other things that have been kind of weighing and into that maybe phase 3. And so people want to get to that. I get it. I want to be able to support that decision there. But if our numbers, go through the roof, we're not going to be able to do that. So we're trying to find that area where we can safely open and safely open those businesses and then be able to, again, dial it back. One thing that we are seeing is that there are businesses that are choosing not to open right now. And just because they can, some businesses are choosing not to right now. Restaurants, there's over 600 restaurants here in the county, and only 100 or so are put forth compliance certification. So people are slowly doing this. People are slowly opening up. We do have over 1,000 businesses out of the 6,500 that are registered in the county that have submitted business compliance certifications. So 1/6 of the businesses have opened within the county. So this is something that is slowly occurring in the county, and so we can always, again, if things start spiking, we can just slow it even further by not approving businesses from opening.
Okay.
And then also gatherings. Gatherings is something that we want to open, eventually do. The state's going to do that as well. Can you meet with anyone outside your household, go to dinner with people? So those are the kind of things that are going to be changing. But again, it's going to be a sliding scale, whether or not we're going to have, 10 or less, 100 or less, 500 or less, all based upon our numbers and how we're seeing it occur out in the community.
Okay. On Tuesday, you said the free market allows people to choose whether to patronize businesses that don't require face coverings, but many county residents live in remote areas where shopping options are limited. Not everyone has transportation or the means to simply drive to another store. What is the Sheriff's Office doing to protect the health of people in these communities where businesses aren't enforcing face covering guidelines?
Well, that's it. I mean, as far as businesses goes, it's within our facial covering guidance that the public health officer provided there, that, they need to have their employees wear face coverings, but they're not required to enforce that face covering on their customers. It is something that's suggested, but it's something that they don't have to enforce. And so again, living in a free market, whether or not you're live out in the rural areas or urban, you have the choice to patronize a business that that does adhere to your safety standards. And so yeah, it's one of those things. We're invited to have a conversation with people, but they're not required to end up calling us anyway. That they're not enforcing that.
When it comes to the reopening process, where does the correctional facility fit into that? Is there any idea of when you will begin accepting inmates again rather than issuing citations then releasing them?
So we are still taking inmates. We still house inmates, people that are DUI, people that have committed drunk in public, those kind of things. We are only booking and keeping those that are serious and violent. So those are the people that need to be behind jail, or the multiple offenders that are likely to reoccur their offense if they're released. So we are doing that. And so we are keeping certain people, and so that is occurring. When will we go to a new normal? We don't have to quarantine people anymore. That's a question that I can't answer yet. We don't have some of the therapeutics end of things decided through the hospitals. Obviously, we don't have a vaccine, and so there's a lot of those things that is going to prevent us from going back to a normal where we don't have to quarantine people that come into the facility. But this is something that we're looking at. So we're looking at trying to better utilize our space. How can we quarantine people, more efficiently? And so we're looking at all those things. But again, the last thing we want is COVID in our correctional facility spreading throughout, and the couple hundred people that we have there, getting them infected.
The reporter says, we've gotten reports of out-of-state tourists staying in local hotels. You said your office is encouraging hotels to offer lodging only to local residents or those coming in to provide essential services. Is that an enforceable component of the county shelter order? If so, what's being done to enforce it?
So we've asked, just the business, Visitors Bureau and those kind of people just to spread the message. And I think they are, There are hotels that are allowing people that are driving through to stay the night because it is a state highway, and they're allowed to, find a place to rest on their way north or the way south through Humboldt County. And so that has to be an opportunity for lodging to do so. And so some areas are allowing people to stay a day, and I think that's within their right to do so. We don't want people on the road, traveling tired, those kind of things. So that is one of those things that is occurring within our county. We've got to remember that our state does have travel restrictions, but Oregon doesn't, and Nevada doesn't, Arizona doesn't. So we have out-of-state people driving through California to Oregon, and so we have to advise that the borders aren't shut down. We do live in a free society. We don't want them to vacation here. That's a little bit different than stopping and resting for the night, and so we understand that it is occurring. It's hard to control in a free society. We're not setting up checkpoints asking for people to give us their location and where they're traveling to. We have responded to some complaints, and and so we're just doing our best to manage that as we see fit.
And then finally, the state of California reopened 46 DMV offices around the state this morning. It's widely known that the DMV gets crowded quickly and easily. It's likely that more people will need services now, especially since things have been on hold for so long. How will the county ensure that state DMV offices are safe for the public to visit?
So the state DMV, they're going to adhere to the state guidelines. The state guidelines were set up to, support, make sure they have a safety plan in place, making sure their employees are checked, make sure their customers are checked, make sure they have all the disinfectant protocols in place, and make sure they have the physical distancing guidelines adhered to. So they're the example. They're the ones that are creating the rules in the first place in the state. So I'm sure you're going to go into DMV and find that all of their practices are going to be in line with what we have here in our businesses. So I don't think people are going to have to worry. We're going to see more and more government businesses open up. The courthouse is open. As soon as they can figure out how court services are going to be run, they're going to be starting running court services. Schools are going to come online, for the fall. And so there's going to be businesses that open up. And with government, with medical businesses, schools, they're going to have some specific protocol that they're going to need to adhere to, and making sure that they keep their employees and their customers and their students safe throughout.
Anything else you'd like to include today?
No, I appreciate everyone's patience. I know with barbershops opening up this next week, there's going to be a lot of people wondering when that's going to occur. So right now we're prioritizing dine-in services, and so the applications for barbershops and salons were opened up today. So we're going to be processing those. When we get a date, we'll be publishing that to people that when this is going to open up. Some people have asked where I got my haircut, because, and I'm not secretly going to a salon somewhere. This is my wife has cut my hair for years, and so my wife has cut my hair, and so I get to be privileged with that aspect of things. So I don't have to do a COVID cut myself. So, but anyway, so it's just we understand the small businesses, especially businesses like nail salons and barbershops. A lot of them are small businesses that have that one business owner. That's difficult. So thank you for your patience. We're going to get to nail salons soon. It's going to be up to the governor, but as far as barbershops, they'll be online hopefully this next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.